something?
Chloe, I must have passed out.
Oh, thank God. Don't you ever do that again, okay?
I swear. But that nightmare was so real. It was so horrible. This is my storm. I caused this. I caused all of this. I changed fate and destiny so much that I actually did alter the course of everything. And all I really created was just death and destruction.
Fuck all that, okay? You were given a power. You didn't ask for it. And you saved me. Which had to happen. All of this did. Except for what happened to Rachel. But without your power, we wouldn't have found her. Okay, so you're not the goddamn Time Master, but you're Maxine Caulfield. And you're amazing. Max. This is the only way.
I feel like I took the shot 1,000 years ago.
You could use that photo to change everything right back to when you took that picture. All that would take is for me to...
Fuck that. No way. You are my #1 priority, ma'am. You are all that matters to me.
I know. You prove that over and over again. Even though I don't deserve it. I'm so selfish. Not like my mom. Look what she had to give up and live through. And she did. She deserves so much more than to be killed by a storm in a fucking diner. Even my stepfather deserves her alive. There's so many more people in Arcadia Bay who should live. Way more than me.
Don't say that. I won't trade you.
You're not trading me. Maybe you've just been delaying my real destiny. Look at how many times I've almost died or actually died around you. Look at what's happened in Arcadia Bay ever since you first saved me. I know I've been selfish, but for once, I think I should accept my fate. Our fate.
Chloe.
Max, you finally came back to me this week, and you did nothing but show me your love and friendship. You made me smile and laugh like I haven't done in years. Wherever I end up after this, in whatever reality, all those moments between us were real, and they'll always be ours. No matter what you choose, I know you'll make the right decision.
Chloe, I can't make this choice.
No, Max. You're the only one who can. Max, it's time.
Not anymore.
Max, I'll always be with you. Forever.
It's a sunshine for everyone, but as far as I can remember, we've been migratory animals, living under changing weather. Someday we will foresee obstacles through the blizzard. through the blizzard. Today we will sell our uniform and live together. Live together.
So I thought I would start off with saying that the other ending was not the one that I originally went with. Basically, the reason I went with Save Arcadia Bay for the ending I chose for the main playthrough was to show that it is technically what the writers intended to be the correct choice for the game. Now, I don't agree with it. I don't believe that it should have been so cut and dry. I don't believe that it should have been either or. There should have been at least an out in there somewhere. There should have been a third option. I don't know. It's just me, and as someone who writes in their spare time, I don't really like that it was just so blatantly obvious that you were going to have to make the choice at the end of the game. But that being said, the reason I went with it is because at the end of the game, Max and Chloe both have shown that they've changed quite a bit. Max not quite as much as Chloe, which is the oddest part, because Chloe has been in this rut, this depression, and this ragey, rebellious state for more than 5 years, came to the conclusion that there were other people in that town that were at risk of dying, and she chose to sacrifice herself to save these people, most of whom treated her very poorly, and others she herself had treated poorly. And Max was selfishly refusing to accept this. She would rather keep Chloe beside her and let this entire town full of people die, and that to me shows that she had not changed, that she was being selfish, just like she had been selfish the entire game by keeping Chloe from dying. Whereas it's very obvious with as many times as Chloe has died in this game that fate wanted her to go. For one reason or another, it's never explained, it's probably never going to be explained, but because Max changed time, it basically was just fate constantly trying to correct itself. over and over and over again, just trying to get Chloe out of the timeline. Chloe is a fixed point in time. If you take anything from chaos theory, you cannot change a fixed point in time without causing irreparable damage to the timeline. That's why there were so many different alternate realities that branched off based off of all the choices that Max has made. And Chloe, by the end of everything, realizes this. She knows that all of these people are going to die if she doesn't go. And I think Max not letting Chloe make this decision, and Max not being willing to let her go, cheapens the fact that Chloe had changed so much throughout the entire game. She was even willing to make amends with her stepfather, even though it was already too late by this point. And if Chloe had not pushed Max into going back and changing things again and setting everything right, she would never have been able to make things right with him anyways. And David and Joyce, Warren, Frank, all of them would have died, and all because Max didn't want to let her best friend go, even though her best friend point blank said that there are other people at risk, and she was willing to give herself up for these other people. The alternate ending where you sacrifice Arcadia Bay honestly feels like it's really tacked on at the very end, because they don't really elaborate too much on it, but you see dead bodies in the street. Everything is destroyed. These people's lives have been completely ruined, the ones that survived anyway, and we don't know if anyone is still alive. So it's a selfish ending. And honestly, if you go with that ending, neither one of these people has really changed. Chloe, in the ending that is considered quote-unquote right, she ends up dying alone, thinking absolutely everyone has abandoned her, full of anger and full of rage. And I don't like that that's how she had to go, but the journey that she took to get to the point to where she was willing to let herself be sacrificed for the greater good made that an impactful death. And Max understands this at the very end of this ending, but I really don't like the fact that Max is the only one that's going to remember anything that happened. But even if she hadn't gone back and let Chloe end up getting killed in the bathroom by Nathan, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because everybody else would have been dead. Chloe's parents would have been dead. Warren would have been dead. All of these people that Max had been trying to help the entire week would have been dead anyways. So what's the point in saving one person if you're going to let hundreds, maybe thousands others die for this one person that you avoided and ignored for 5 years and only ended up connecting with again out of desperation? I don't feel like the Sacrifice Arcadia Bay ending really fits the tone of what the game is trying to get you to learn. It's basically trying to show how people grow and change, and that not everything is central around your life and around what happens to you and the one person that you might be focused on. There's so many other people that are involved, and you could make the decision one day to basically hit the reset button, or, walk away whenever someone's in trouble, someone needs your help, because this one person that you're focusing on is the one that you want to give all your attention to, and by doing so, the person you're ignoring could just die. It's basically trying to tell you to look outside of yourself and around and outside of what is directly affecting you, and look at the bigger picture and see what your actions do to the people around you. And Chloe at the end of the game understood that and was willing to let herself go. I'm getting a little bit rambly, I guess, now, but the point being is that the Sacrifice Arcadia Bay ending is inherently selfish. Neither one of the girls changes, and everyone around them that has helped them or hindered them, or any of their friends that they may have had, they're all dead. So it's a very bleak, dark, depressing ending, all things considered. And I think the Sacrifice Chloe ending just leaves more of an impact as far as storytelling goes. Me personally, I would rather Chloe had not died, but with the two of them being presented to me, yes, my initial knee-jerk reaction when I first played the game was save Chloe, because you've been spending this entire game trying to keep her alive. But going back and replaying it, letting Chloe sacrifice herself is the more realistic and grown-up thing to do, all things considered, and it's really, really hard to I'm trying to think of the words. It's really hard to argue with just how things ended. You might not like it because you wanted Chloe and Max to end up together and go off and drive off into the sunset or whatever, but you have to, both of these girls in this ending will have to live with the reality that everyone that they knew in that town, they allowed to die for each other. And while that may be a storybook ending kind of thing, you know, oh, the two lovers drove off into the sunset and they'll be together forever, you have to understand that Chloe has had a lot of issues. She's got a lot of anger issues that are unresolved. She has mental instability that is unresolved, and she and Max are probably going to argue the entire time. Something bad's going to happen. One of them's going to get in trouble. One of them's going to get into a fight. One of them's going to hurt the other by accident. It's not a perfect ending. You have hundreds of people dead, unresolved issues between the two of them, and then we never know what happens. At least with the Sacrifice Chloe ending, you know that life is still going to go on, and that the people around you will learn to appreciate one another more, hopefully, and that Jefferson and Nathan were both brought to justice without Nathan having to be killed. Nathan is another character that bothers me because he is genuinely a person that needed help. And by help, I mean mental help. He's not a bad person inherently. He is a person who has been mistreated, mentally and emotionally abused by his parents, and used by everyone around him just because of his family name. And because they feel that, I guess, since he has a mental disorder, he is weak. And I can understand from a certain aspect why he is like this, but it does not excuse the way he went about things. It doesn't excuse his actions, but it gives a catalyst, a reason for it. And I feel that since he is still alive in the Sacrifice Chloe ending, there's a chance for him to get real help and become a decent person again, because we see in Before the Storm that he could genuinely be a good person with the right people around him. So, I mean, it's just a game. It's all up in the air, but there are people like this in real life that genuinely just need help. And they get ignored. And in this Sacrifice Arcadia Bay ending, that's essentially what you're doing. You're ignoring everyone else for this one person who has shown over and over and over throughout the course of the game that she is not necessarily a good person. And you are selfishly clinging to her out of guilt. Because as Max, you abandoned her, and you have been trying your hardest to show that you are not a horrible person by keeping her alive, helping her out with everything that she needs helping out with, backing her up on things that are obviously not worth backing up. And it's all selfishness and guilt, and honestly Max is a huge hypocrite, but we'll get into that at some other point. But that is the main reason why I went with Sacrifice Chloe ending for my official playthrough for this game, at least for the recorded version of it, because I honestly feel it is a more poignant and more satisfying ending based just on, I don't know, I guess looking at it from a grown-up's perspective, but having come from the background of a troubled teen myself, I don't know, it just shows more growth, and it's a more positive and uplifting ending in spite of the fact that Chloe is no longer alive. So, and just in the grand scheme of things, I don't know. That's just the way I feel about it. So, I'll stop rambling now, I'll stop talking, but I'm glad I finally was able to finish this and close the chapter on Life is Strange, and we'll see what happens next. I've got a few other games that I have in mind, and I don't know. We never know what's going to happen.